The plasma bolt hit 3 meters to the left. Captain Derek Stone didn't flinch. He stepped forward, boots crunching on crystalline sand, and raised both hands. Not in surrender, in greeting. The Vakari Honor Guard tightened their formation around the landing platform. 40 warriors in ceremonial armor, each one holding a charged pulse rifle aimed directly at his chest. Behind them, the obsidian spires of the royal palace rose like black teeth against a violet sky. "I'm here for the princess," Derek called out. A ripple of shock passed through the guards. One of them hissed something in their language. It sounded like a curse. The massive gates began to open. Derek had been to 17 star systems. He'd fought in the border wars. He'd walked into Krellian ambushes and Threxian death traps. None of that prepared him for what came next. She appeared at the top of the steps. Princess Kira moved like flowing water. Her skin held the faint luminescence all Vakari possessed, a soft blue glow that marked her royal bloodline. She wore the traditional combat dress of her people, form-fitting plates that served as both ceremony and armor. Her eyes found his immediately. She smiled. That smile nearly killed him, not because it was beautiful, though it was, because it was real, because it meant she'd done it. She'd actually convinced them. "Mother wishes to see you," Kira said. Her voice carried across the plaza. "She demands to know who you are." The guards parted. Derek climbed the steps. Each one felt like walking toward execution. The Vakari Empire had ruled this sector for 3,000 years. Their queens commanded fleets that could turn planets to glass. Their laws were absolute, and he'd just married one of their princesses. Not officially, not yet, but the bond ceremony they'd performed on Station Helix counted. At least it did to them. The question was whether it counted to the queen. Kira met him at the top. Up close, he could see the tension in her jaw, the way her fingers trembled slightly before she clasped them together. "She's furious," Kira whispered. "I know. She could have you executed. I know that too. Then why did you come?" Derek looked into her eyes. "Because you asked me to." The throne room doors opened with a sound like thunder. Inside, seated on a platform of black stone, Queen Bara waited. Her presence filled the chamber. Power radiated from her like heat from a star. Behind her, the royal council stood in silent judgment. The queen's voice could have shattered steel. "Who is this man?" Kira stepped forward. Her hand found Derek's. She held it tight and smiled. "My husband." The chamber erupted. The queen rose from her throne. The chamber fell silent instantly. Every council member froze. The guards along the walls straightened. Even the air seemed to stop moving. Derek felt Kira's hand tighten around his. He didn't let go. Queen Vara descended the platform steps with measured precision. Each footfall echoed through the vast chamber. Her robe shifted colors as she moved, from deep crimson to black, a display of royal authority that had intimidated diplomats for decades. Her eyes, ancient and sharp, locked onto Derek. "A human," she said. The word dripped with disdain. "My daughter, crown princess of the Vakari Empire, claims she has married a human." "Not a claim, Mother." Kira's voice didn't waver. "A fact." The slap came fast. "Not physical. Worse." The queen's power lashed out, a telekinetic wave that would have driven most people to their knees. Derek felt it slam into him like a wall of force. He stayed standing. The queen's eyes widened fractionally. The first crack in her composure. "Impossible," she breathed. "No human can withstand royal pressure." "He's not most humans," Kira said. Derek finally spoke. "Your Majesty, I come with respect. I come with honor. And I come because your daughter is the most remarkable person I've ever met." Silence. The queen circled him slowly, studying him like a predator examining prey. You dare enter my palace. You dare touch my daughter. You dare claim marriage to royal blood. Give me one reason I should not have you disintegrated where you stand, because killing me won't change what we feel. The queen stopped. Feel? She laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. You speak of feelings to me? I have crushed rebellions. I have ended bloodlines. I have made stars bow to my will. What are your feelings against the weight of an empire? Everything, Kira said. They're everything, Mother. One of the council members stepped forward. He was old, even by Vakari standards, his skin dimmed with age. Your Majesty, this is unprecedented. The law is clear. Royal bloodlines do not mix with lesser species. Lesser? Derek's jaw tightened. That's what this is about? You think humans are beneath you? The counselor sneered. You live barely a century. Your technology is primitive. Your empires rise and fall like waves. What could you possibly offer our princess? I offer myself, nothing more, nothing less. Arrogance, the queen said. Typical human arrogance. You come here with nothing, no fleet, no army, no power. Just words and the audacity to think they matter. They matter to me, Kira said. Her glow intensified, filling the space around her with blue light. Derek saved my life on Station Helix. He didn't know I was a princess. He didn't care. He saw me. Just me. Not my title, not my bloodline. Me, Derek remembered. The station had been under attack. Mercenaries trying to kidnap someone valuable. He'd been there on leave, trying to forget the war. Then he'd seen her cornered in a market corridor, 3 armed thugs closing in. Training had kicked in. He'd moved without thinking. The fight had lasted 90 seconds. When it ended, she'd looked at him with those luminous eyes and asked his name. Everything had changed in that moment. Love. The queen spat the word like poison. You would throw away your duty for love? You would disgrace your bloodline for a creature who will die while you still have centuries ahead? I would live 1 human lifetime with him over 1,000 years without him. The chamber erupted again. Council members shouted. Guards shifted uncomfortably. The queen's face darkened with rage. Derek saw it then. The real fear beneath the anger. The queen wasn't just protecting tradition. She was protecting her daughter from pain, from loss, from watching someone she loved grow old and die while she remained. Your Majesty, he said quietly, I know what you're afraid of. The queen's power flared. You know nothing, human. I know you love her. I know you're trying to protect her. But she doesn't need protection from me. She needs the freedom to choose her own path. And what path is that? Watching you wither? Burying you? Spending eternity with only memories? If necessary. Kira's voice broke. Yes, if that's the price, I'll pay it gladly. The queen stared at her daughter. For the first time, Derek saw something other than imperial authority in her eyes. He saw a mother looking at her child. You would defy me? The queen whispered. You would break tradition, ignore law, and risk everything for this? Kira lifted her chin. I already have. The silence that followed could have swallowed stars. The queen turned away sharply. Her robes swept across the polished floor as she paced. The council members watched in tense silence. No one dared speak. Derek could feel the weight of centuries pressing down on this moment. Traditions older than Earth's space program hung in the balance. There is a way, the old counselor said carefully. An ancient way, not used in 900 years. The queen stopped. The trial of worth. No. Kira's glow flickered. Mother, please. Not that. Derek looked between them. What trial? The counselor's expression turned grave. If a royal wishes to bond with an outsider, the outsider must prove their worth to the empire. 3 tests: combat, wisdom, and sacrifice. Fail any one, and the bond is void. The outsider is exiled forever. And if I pass, then the marriage is recognized, the queen said. She turned back, her face unreadable. By law and tradition, it cannot be challenged. Not even by me. Derek felt Kira's hand trembling in his. He squeezed gently. I accept. Derek, no. Kira stepped in front of him. You don't understand. The trials are designed to be impossible. They're meant to break you. No outsider has ever passed all 3. Then I'll be the first. The queen's eyes narrowed. Such confidence. We shall see if it survives contact with reality. The first trial begins at dawn. Combat against our finest warrior. You will face champion Drex in the arena of proof. A murmur rippled through the council. One member actually gasped. Drex? Kira's voice rose. Mother, he's killed 47 opponents in ritual combat. He's undefeated for 20 years. Then your human should pray to whatever gods his people believe in. The queen's smile was cold. If he truly loves you, he will find a way. If not, we will learn the truth of his worth quickly. Derek met the queen's stare. Where's this arena? Eager to die? The counselor asked. Eager to prove you wrong. The queen gestured. 2 guards moved forward. Take him to the preparation chambers. He will be given basic armor and a weapon of his choice. Nothing more. I want to stay with him, Kira said. No, you will wait in the royal observation deck. You will watch, and you will see what becomes of humans who reach beyond their station. Derek felt Kira's hand slip from his. Her eyes met his, filled with fear and something else. Faith. She believed in him. That mattered more than armor or weapons or training. The guards led him through winding corridors. The palace was a maze of obsidian and crystal. Through windows he caught glimpses of the capital city sprawling below. Millions of Valkyrie going about their lives, unaware that a human was about to challenge their greatest warrior. The preparation chamber was sparse. A rack of weapons lined one wall. Armor pieces hung on stands. A Valkyrie attendant waited, his expression neutral. Choose quickly, the attendant said. Dawn comes in 4 hours. Derek examined the weapons. Energy blades, plasma staffs, projectile launchers. All unfamiliar. All designed for Valkyrie physiology. Then he saw it, mounted almost as an afterthought in the corner. A simple metal staff. No energy core, no technological enhancement, just solid tungsten alloy. He picked it up. The weight felt right. That? The attendant looked confused. That is a training weapon. For children. It'll do? You face Drex with a practice staff? I face Drex with what I know how to use. The attendant shook his head. You are either very brave or very foolish. Probably both. The hours crawled by. Derek meditated. He stretched. He ran through combat forms his instructors had drilled into him during the war. The staff moved through familiar patterns. Block, strike, sweep, redirect. He thought about Kira, about the way she'd looked at him on Station Helix after the fight, about late nights talking in the observation deck, sharing stories about their worlds, about the moment he'd realized he loved her, watching her laugh at some stupid joke he'd made, worth fighting for, worth dying for if necessary. A gong sounded, deep and resonant. Dawn had arrived. The attendant returned. It is time. The arena awaits. Derek followed him through more corridors. The sound of voices grew louder. Thousands of voices, The passage opened onto blinding light and roaring noise. The arena of proof was enormous. Carved from a natural crater, it seated 50,000 Valkyrie. Every seat was filled. They'd come to watch the human fail, to see tradition upheld, to witness the outsider broken. Derek stepped onto the sand. Across the arena, a gate opened. Champion Drex emerged. He was massive. Even for a Valkyrie, he towered. His armor was scarred from countless battles. In his hands, he carried a weapon Derek had only seen in combat footage, a gravity maul. One hit could pulverize bone. Drex crossed the arena floor. He stopped 10 meters away. "I will make this quick, human," Drex said. His voice rumbled like distant thunder. "You seem brave. I respect that, so I promise you a clean death." Derek spun the staff once. "I appreciate the offer, but I'm not planning to die today." Drex smiled. It was not friendly. The gong sounded again. The trial had begun. Drex charged. The ground shook with each step. The gravity maul hummed with lethal energy. Derek waited. Let the champion close the distance. Let him commit. At the last second, Derek moved. He didn't block. Blocking that weapon would shatter the staff and every bone in his arms. Instead, he slipped sideways, using the staff to redirect his own momentum. The maul smashed into sand where he'd stood a heartbeat before. The impact created a crater. Drex spun faster than something his size should move. The maul came around in a horizontal arc. Derek dropped low, felt the weapon pass centimeters above his head. He jabbed upward with the staff, striking Drex's wrist. It was like hitting stone. The champion didn't even flinch. But Derek hadn't been trying to hurt him. He'd been testing, learning. The armor had weak points, joints, gaps, places where mobility required vulnerability. Drex brought the maul down vertically. Derek rolled, came up running. He needed space, needed time to think. The crowd roared. They wanted blood. They wanted the human crushed. "Stand and fight," Drex bellowed. He activated the maul's secondary function. The gravity field expanded, creating a pull that dragged Derek backward. Derek stabbed the staff into the sand, anchored himself. His muscles screamed with the effort. The pull was immense. He could feel his boots sliding despite his resistance. Then he let go. The sudden release sent him flying backward. He tucked, rolled, came up with sand in his hands. Drex charged again. Derek threw the sand directly at the champion's eyes. Drex roared. His free hand came up, wiping his face. Half a second of distraction. Derek took it. He closed the distance, staff whirling. He targeted joints. Knee, elbow, neck. Rapid strikes that didn't need to break armor, just to disrupt balance. Drex swung blindly. Derek ducked under the maul, swept low with the staff. Drex stumbled. The crowd went silent. A champion of the Valkyrie Empire had stumbled. Against a human, with a practice weapon. Drex's eyes cleared. The playfulness vanished from his expression. Now he looked angry. "No more mercy," he growled. The real fight began. Drex moved with terrifying speed. The maul became a blur of destruction. Derek gave ground, deflecting what he could, evading what he couldn't. Each blocked strike sent vibrations up his arms. The staff held, but barely. He needed a new strategy. Strength versus strength wouldn't work. Drex had every advantage in raw power, so Derek stopped trying to match him. He started dancing between strikes, around attacks, using Drex's momentum against him. The champion swung high. Derek went low. The maul came from the left. Derek spun right. It was exhausting. It required perfect timing. One mistake meant death. But it was working. Drex was slowing. Not much, but enough. The maul was heavy. Swinging it continuously took energy, and Drex had been expecting a quick fight. He hadn't paced himself. Derek saw his opening. Drex committed to a massive overhead swing, everything behind it, enough force to crack the arena floor. Derek didn't dodge. He stepped forward inside the arc of the swing. The staff came up, positioned vertically. The maul struck the staff. The staff shattered. But the angle was wrong for Drex. His own momentum carried him forward, off balance. Derek kept the shattered staff pieces, one in each hand. He drove them both into the gap between Drex's chest plate and shoulder armor. Not deep, not lethal, but enough. Drex froze. The maul fell from his hands. He looked down at the broken staff pieces embedded in his armor. Then he started laughing. Incredible, Drex said. He raised both hands. I yield. The arena erupted in chaos. Half the crowd roared approval. The other half shouted protests. A human had defeated their champion. Impossible. Unthinkable. Real. Derek pulled the staff pieces free. Drex clapped him on the shoulder hard enough to nearly knock him down. Well fought, little human. Well fought indeed. The queen stood in the royal box. Her expression was unreadable. Beside her, Kira glowed so brightly she lit up the entire section. A council member descended to the arena floor. The old one from before. His face showed grudging respect. The first trial is complete, he announced. Derek Stone has proven his worth in combat. Tomorrow he faces the trial of wisdom. Derek looked up at Kira. Even from across the arena, he could see tears streaming down her face. Happy tears. 1 down, 2 to go. They gave him 6 hours to rest. Derek spent 4 of them with Kira. The palace guards had escorted him to a private garden, secluded and quiet. She'd been waiting there, pacing like a caged star. She'd hit him first. A light punch to his chest. You could have died, you stubborn idiot. Then she'd kissed him. That had lasted considerably longer. Now they sat beneath a tree that glowed with bioluminescent flowers. Kira's head rested on his shoulder. Her hand traced the bruises forming on his arms. The trial of wisdom is different, she said quietly. It's not about fighting. It's about understanding. They'll present you with a scenario, a problem that has no clear answer. You must find a solution that satisfies the council. What kind of problem? It changes each time, but it's always designed to reveal character, to show how you think, how you prioritize, what you value most. Derek watched the alien sky above them. Twin moons hung low on the horizon. Your mother really doesn't want this, does she? She's terrified. Kira sat up, meeting his eyes. I'm her only child. When my father died, she swore she'd never feel that pain again. She built walls around her heart, around me. She sees you as a threat to those walls. I don't want to hurt her, or you. I know. That's why I love you. Kira touched his face gently. But Derek, you need to understand something. These trials aren't just tests. They're messages. My mother is trying to show me that you'll fail, that humans aren't capable of understanding our ways, that I'm making a mistake. Then I'll prove her wrong. What if you can't? What if the trial is impossible? Derek smiled. Then I'll fail spectacularly and make her respect the attempt. Kira laughed despite herself. Only you would joke about this. A chime sounded across the garden. Time was up. The trial of wisdom took place in the chamber of contemplation. Unlike the arena, this room was small, intimate. Only the queen, the council, and Kira were present. Derek stood in the center of a circular platform. The old counselor stepped forward. "Derek Stone, you will now face the trial of wisdom. Listen carefully. You may ask clarifying questions, but you may not consult with anyone. The scenario is this." He gestured. A holographic display materialized above the platform. A Valkyrie colony ship carries 10,000 souls. It encounters a catastrophic engine failure near a binary star system. 2 planets are within reach. Planet Alpha can support 8,000 colonists, but has no natural resources. They will survive but never thrive. Planet Beta has abundant resources, but can only support 2,000 colonists. The ship cannot be repaired. Communications are down. As the ranking officer, you must decide. Which planet do you choose, and who lives? Derek's stomach dropped. This wasn't a wisdom test. It was a nightmare clarifying question. He said, "Can the colonists be split between both planets?" No. The remaining fuel allows for only one landing. Choose one planet, and those you don't send will die in space when life support fails. Can they cannibalize the ship for resources on Alpha? The ship will burn up in atmospheric entry. Nothing will remain. Derek looked at Kira. Her expression was anguished. She knew what this was. A test designed to have no right answer, only terrible choices. The Queen watched him with cold eyes. "Well, human, show us your wisdom. Who deserves to live? The many who will slowly starve on a barren world, or the few who might build something lasting?" Derek closed his eyes, thought. Every answer was wrong. Send everyone to Alpha and you condemn them to slow decline. Send 2,000 to Beta and you murder 8,000 outright. There had to be another way. "How long until life support fails?" he asked. 72 hours. "And how long would it take to land on either planet?" 6 hours. Derek opened his eyes. "Then I choose neither planet. Not yet." The council members shifted. The Queen leaned forward. "Explain," she commanded. "You said I'm the ranking officer. That means I have authority over the ship and crew. I'd spend the first 60 hours doing everything possible to restore communications. Strip every non-essential system, rebuild the transmitter from spare parts, cannibalize personal devices. 10,000 people means thousands of communication devices, tablets, computers, entertainment systems. Break them all down and build something stronger." "To what purpose?" the counselor demanded. "Even if you reach someone, help cannot arrive in time. Not to call for help, to call for advice." Derek's mind raced. "The Vakari Empire has existed for thousands of years. You've colonized hundreds of worlds. Someone, somewhere, has faced this exact problem or something similar. I'd broadcast our situation across every channel. Ask for solutions. For data on the planets. For any information that might help. And if no one responds, then I'd use those 60 hours for something else. I'd gather every scientist, engineer, and expert on that ship. I'd task them with one question. Can we make Alpha sustainable, not comfortable? Not perfect, sustainable. Can we extract minerals from the rock? Can we create artificial nutrients? Can we build greenhouses using the ship's technology before it burns up? The Queen's expression shifted slightly. You would gamble 10,000 lives on a possibility. I would gamble 10,000 lives on 10,000 minds working together. Humans learned a long time ago that impossible problems sometimes have solutions we haven't thought of yet. We went to our moon with computers less powerful than a modern calculator. We split the atom. We mapped our own genetic code. We did impossible things because we refused to accept that they were impossible.
Derek met the Queen's gaze directly.
You asked me to choose who lives. I choose to reject the choice. I choose to fight, to think, to try everything possible before I surrender to the terrible options. Maybe I fail. Maybe everyone dies anyway, but they die knowing their ranking officer didn't give up. That matters. Silence filled the chamber. The old counselor spoke first. That is not an answer. That is avoidance. No, Kira said. She stood, her voice steady. That is hope. That is what humans do. They don't accept impossible. They challenge it. The queen rose slowly. And what if your hope fails, human? What if, after 60 hours, you have no solution and only 12 hours remain? What then? Derek's voice didn't waver. Then I make the hard choice with the best information I have. But I make it knowing I tried everything first. That's wisdom, not accepting false choices, fighting for real ones. The queen stared at him for a long moment. Then she nodded once. The second trial is complete. Derek barely had time to breathe before they moved him to the final trial. No rest period this time. No chance to see Kira. The guards escorted him through different corridors, deeper into the palace. These passages were older. The walls showed wear from centuries of use. They descended stairs carved from raw stone. The chamber of sacrifice waited at the bottom. It was circular, empty except for a single pedestal in the center. The queen stood on one side. The council formed a semicircle behind her. Kira stood apart, her glow dimmed with worry. The final trial, the queen said. Her voice echoed in the small space. The trial of sacrifice. This will reveal your true nature, Derek Stone. Strip away your words and show us what lies beneath. The old counselor approached the pedestal. He placed something on it, a small crystalline device. This is a neural interface, he explained, standard Vacarai technology. When activated, it will connect your mind to ours. We will see your thoughts, your memories, your deepest self. Nothing hidden, nothing protected. Derek felt his chest tighten. You want access to my mind? We want truth, the queen said. You have shown combat prowess. You have shown clever thinking. But words and actions can deceive. The mind cannot lie when properly examined. You will activate the interface. We will see who you truly are, and then we will know if you are worthy of my daughter. Mother, this is too much. Kira stepped forward. The neural interface is invasive. It's used for criminals, for interrogation. It is also used for the trial of sacrifice. He will sacrifice his privacy, his secrets, everything he wishes to hide. If he refuses, the trials end here. If he accepts and we find deception, manipulation, or unworthiness, the trials end just the same. Small, innocuous, terrifying. His mind held everything. Memories of the war, things he'd done, people he'd killed, moments of fear and weakness and doubt. They'd see it all, judge it all. There's something else, the counselor said. Something you should know before you decide. The interface works both ways. While we see your mind, you will see ours. You will experience our memories, our culture, 3,000 years of Bakari history flowing through your consciousness. Most alien minds cannot survive the process. The difference in neural structure causes catastrophic feedback.
What does that mean exactly? It means you might die, Kira whispered.
Or worse, your mind might shatter. You could survive but lose yourself, become something empty. The queen's expression remained cold. This is the sacrifice. Risk your mind for the chance to be with her. That is what we demand. Derek understood now. This was the real test. Not combat, not wisdom. This, the question of how much he was willing to give. He thought about Kira, about the future they could have. Years together, maybe not centuries like she'd have, but years filled with love and partnership and shared dreams. Worth it. He reached for the device. Kira grabbed his hand. Derek, wait. Please, we can leave. Right now. We can go somewhere the Empire can't reach. We can be together without this. Running? He smiled sadly. That's not living, Kira. That's hiding. You deserve better. You deserve your family, your people, your home. I won't take that from you. You're not taking anything. I'm choosing. I know, and I'm choosing too. He squeezed her hand gently, then released it. I'm choosing to fight for us the right way, no matter the cost. He picked up the device. It was warm to the touch, alive with energy. How does it work? He asked. The counselor gestured to his temple. Place it here. Think the activation phrase. The connection will establish immediately. And the phrase is, I offer myself freely. Derek positioned the device against his temple. It adhered to his skin instantly. He could feel something probing, searching for neural pathways. He looked at Kira one last time, memorized her face. Just in case. Then he closed his eyes. I offer myself freely. The world exploded. Pain hit first, searing, absolute. His nervous system screamed as alien technology interfaced with human biology. He felt his knees buckle but couldn't tell if he actually fell. Physical sensation became meaningless. Then the memories came. Not his own, theirs. He saw the Vakari homeworld in its ancient glory, felt the first queen's coronation, experienced the expansion across the stars, battles fought, worlds claimed, empires built and destroyed, 3,000 years compressed into seconds, each moment brilliant and terrible and overwhelming. His mind couldn't contain it, wasn't designed to. He felt himself fracturing under the weight of it all. But then something changed. The flow reversed. Now they were seeing him, his memories flooding outward. Childhood on Earth. Training for war. The first time he'd killed someone and how it had haunted him for months. The friends he'd lost. The mistakes he'd made. The fear he carried. The doubt. And then Kira, meeting her, fighting beside her, talking with her through long nights, falling for her slowly, and then, all at once, the moment he'd known he loved her, watching her laugh, seeing her serious, every memory sharp and pure and real. He felt the queen's presence in his mind, felt her rifling through his thoughts, searching for deception, for hidden motives, for any sign that his love was false. She found none, because there was none to find. Derek loved Kira completely, honestly, without reservation or condition. He would die for her. He would live for her. He would sacrifice everything, including this very moment, for her happiness. The queen saw it all, and she understood. The connection broke. Derek collapsed. His body hit stone. He couldn't move, couldn't think. His mind felt like shattered glass trying to reform itself. Hands lifted him, Kira's hands. He could hear her voice, but not the words. Everything was distant, muffled. Slowly, sensation returned. The world came back into focus. He was lying on the floor. Kira cradled his head. Tears streaked her face. The queen stood above them both. Her expression had changed. The coldness was gone. In its place, something softer, something almost like respect. I have seen his heart, the queen said quietly. I have walked through his memories. I have felt what he feels. She knelt down, looked Derek directly in the eyes. You truly love her. Derek managed to nod. The Queen's voice broke slightly. And you will die. Long before her, you will leave her alone. I know. Yet you accept this? Every moment with her is worth the cost. The Queen closed her eyes. A single tear traced down her luminescent cheek. The trial of sacrifice is complete, she whispered. You have proven your worth. The coronation ceremony began at sunset. They held it in the Garden of Unity, open to the sky and the entire capital. Hundreds of thousands of Vakari filled the grounds and spilled into surrounding streets. Holographic displays broadcast the event across the empire. Every world watched. Every colony tuned in. A human was about to marry a Vakari princess. Derek stood at the altar in traditional ceremonial armor, not Vakari design. They'd created something new, a fusion of both cultures. Human engineering merged with Vakari aesthetics. It fit perfectly. Kira approached from the opposite end of the garden path. She wore flowing robes that shifted through every color imaginable. Her glow was radiant, blinding, beautiful beyond words. The Queen officiated. She stood between them, her presence commanding absolute silence from the massive crowd. We gather to witness a bond, the Queen began. Her voice carried across the garden without amplification. Not just between two individuals, between two peoples. Two futures joining as one. She turned to Derek. You have passed the trials, proven your worth in combat, wisdom, and sacrifice. You have shown us that humanity possesses strengths we did not recognize, strengths we now honor. Then to Kira. And you, my daughter, have shown courage beyond measure. You chose love over tradition, hope over fear. You reminded us that the heart knows truths the mind often denies. The Queen took both their hands, placed them together. By ancient law and new precedent, I recognize this bond. Derek Stone, you are now consort to Princess Kira, part of our royal family, part of our empire. The crowd erupted, not in protest, in celebration. Cheers rose like thunder. Kira kissed him. The garden exploded with light. Traditional Vakari fireworks filled the sky, their luminescence reflecting off every surface. When they finally broke apart, Derek saw Drex standing in the front row. The champion raised his fist in salute. Beside him, council members who doubted now showed grudging acceptance. The celebration lasted through the night. Music played. Food was served. Vakari and the few humans present mingled freely. Barriers that had stood for millennia cracked and began to crumble. Derek and Kira slipped away as the twin moons reached their zenith. They found a quiet balcony overlooking the city. Alone at last. You did it, Kira whispered. You actually did it. We did it. Derek pulled her close. Together, my mother pulled me aside before the ceremony. Do you know what she said? I'm afraid to guess. She said you reminded her of my father. Stubborn, impossible, willing to challenge the universe itself for what you believe in. Kira's voice grew thick. She said she was wrong, that she let fear make her cruel, that seeing your memories showed her what real love looks like. She's not wrong to be afraid. I will die before you, I know, and we'll face that when it comes. But Derek, we have now. We have years ahead. Maybe medical science advances. Maybe we find ways to extend human life. Maybe we don't. Either way, I choose this. I choose you. Derek held her as the city celebrated below, this strange, beautiful alien world that was now his home. A year later, the first human embassy opened on the Vakari homeworld. 5 years later, joint colonies began forming, humans and Vakari building together. 10 years later, their daughter was born. Half human, half Vakari, something entirely new. The queen held her granddaughter and wept, not from sorrow, from joy, from hope. The child glowed faintly, a bridge between species that had once thought themselves incompatible. Derek watched Kira with their daughter, saw the future taking shape, not just for them, for everyone. The galaxy was changing because two people refused to accept that love required permission, that different meant impossible, that the future had to look like the past. Years passed. Derek's hair turned gray, then white. His body aged while Kira remained vibrant. They faced it together, made every moment count, built a life of meaning and purpose. When Derek finally died, old by human standards but having lived more than most, Kira held his hand. The queen sat on his other side. Their daughter, now grown, stood at the foot of the bed. "Thank you," Kira whispered, "for everything." Derek smiled. "Thank you for asking me to dance." His last breath was peaceful, surrounded by love. The funeral drew billions, humans and Bakari alike. The man who'd passed impossible trials, who'd changed an empire, who'd proven that the greatest strength wasn't power or wisdom, it was choosing love despite the cost. Kira lived for another century. She never remarried, never needed to. She'd had her love, her partnership, her impossible, stubborn human who'd walked into a throne room and changed everything. She spent her years building the future they'd dreamed of. A galaxy where species didn't just coexist, they thrived together. And when visitors came to the royal palace, when they asked about the statue in the Garden of Unity showing a human and a Vakari hand in hand, the guides would smile. They would tell the story of the queen who demanded, the princess who smiled, and the man who proved that love transcends everything, even stars, even time, even impossible odds. Because that's what humans do. They say yes when the universe says no. And sometimes, just sometimes, they win.